very passionate about food and cooking.
Oh.
So started learning cooking at a very, very early stage, and everybody thought that, I'll do something in that field. So that was the first presentation of my life, and that was a turning point of my life. Looking after a portfolio of 156 startups, I call them as my babies, because each and every startup is important, and each and every startup's journey is important for me, right? And I remember doing this with one of our investee company called Kerala Banana Chips.
Yeah, I think Aman Gupta is also invested in that.
But our check size is generally starting from 11.5 lakh, goes up to 2.5 crores. That is the financial investments, and when I talk about strategic investments, it goes up above 50 to 100 crores. Getting the capital from the right person or right resource is very important, so that they can add value to your business, is what I believe. Had successful exits. Confirmed Ticket, which got acquired by Ixigo.
One of the top 3 successful startups for you.
So there are 3 companies that I believe are the star performers.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Level Up, a podcast brought to you by Lakhani Financial Services. On today's episode, we have Bronika Gandhi. She leads the investments and mergers and acquisitions arm at SAT Industries Limited, a listed entity in India. She is invested in over 140 plus startups and has got multiple exits. Welcome, Bronika. How are you doing today?
Thank you for having me here, and it's been amazing being a part of this show. So thank you for calling me.
All right. Bronika, I think, let's start probably with your introduction, but we'll do it in a little different manner. I think a professional introduction I have given.
Okay.
All right. But it's a very short one. Let's probably get to know you a little better, but in a different manner, right? So tell us something about yourself that probably people are not aware. You've done multiple startup investments, spoken to multiple startups, right? You do that on a day-to-day basis. So people in the community know about SAT Industries, know about Bronika being, leading the investment arm at SAT Industries, etc. Tell us something what people don't know about you.
So very exciting, actually. So my journey started being a legal and compliance person at SAT Industries Limited, looking after the startup investments on the legal and compliance side. But I was always passionate about innovation and the changes that is happening in the society, and looking at my interest, I got this opportunity, and I moved towards evaluating startups from a legal and compliance perspective of looking after the investments. And early in my journey, I was fortunate enough to be guided by Mr. Asad Daud and Mr. Daud Ali, the top management at SAT Industries Limited, right? So when I joined back in 2020, and coming from a legal background, there were some terms which were not very familiar in terms of startups. When people were doing pitches and they were saying that there's a cash burn, there's a runway, and I was like, okay, what is this? So it took me 6 to 12 months to understand the terms that we use in startups, and moving from looking at the term sheets and SHAs to pitch decks. So it was very exciting for me. And I think it comes with passion more than what you know about startups and what you don't know about startups. It comes from passion, right? So my journey in past 4 years have been very exciting, right from looking after the investments to leading the investments to now taking care of mergers and acquisitions of this listed entity. So long journey in short period of time. So that's been really exciting.
Okay. This is a little bit more about your professional, right? Tell us something which people are not aware about, right? Who Bronika Gandhi is at a personal level. What does she do? What does she like? Tell us something about yourself.
Okay, so when I completed my graduation, and then I was since I was 12 years, I was very passionate about food and cooking.
Oh,
So I
wow.
started learning cooking at a very early stage, and everybody thought that I'll do something
In that field.
in that field. In fact, at some point of time, my father wanted to start a restaurant for me, and wanted me to lead it. But I think the destiny had something else for me. But I'm glad that I landed up on this. But my passion for cooking and food remains the same. So maybe going forward in my
Restaurant business.
retirement, probably I'll follow my passion. But I think this is something that nobody else around me, apart from my family, knows that I've been very passionate about cooking and food, and trying new cuisines and experimenting them at home. So that's.
So do you first try it out somewhere, and then if you like it, you pick it up at home
Yes.
as a to
Yeah.
experiment on your family then?
So I'll tell you something, back in 2012-13, there were no YouTube and Instagrams,
yeah.
not much, Instagrams and everything, and people were very curious how this dish is made and how things were done, because we had no platforms to learn, right? There were few cooking shows and all of that at that time. So I come from Rajasthan, okay? So at that time, there were very limited resources.
Where in Rajasthan?
It's Pali.
Pali.
It's near to Jodhpur.
Okay.
So very limited resources, but there were few people who wanted to learn. So I used to take cooking classes, and that's where the passion started. And then of course I wanted to do something in my profession also, and there were very limited resources at that time in Pali, to move forward.
This you're talking about 10 years back?
10 years back, yeah.
Okay.
This is 10 years back. So this is about my journey. Started from something, ended on something else, ended on something else. But I think this is me as a person. So I'll always do something which excites me, and that brings the spark. And I think honestly, that's where you can do justice to your work. So if you don't like anything, if you're not passionate about what you're doing, I don't think you justify your work. So this is something that I love doing, I look forward doing, and hence I hope I'm giving justice to my
whom
work.
do you try your experiments on today in your family? Like, who are the
You're talking about food?
food?
Okay, no, so everybody around me, fortunately in my house, is a foodie. So my family, my husband, everybody loves to eat, and they look forward to Sundays where I'll be cooking at home, and there'll be something new on the table. So yes.
What was the last cuisine you made for them? Any new one,
So I've just
which you experimented, and what were your reviews?
So I've just tried sushi
wow.
a week before, and I was not really sure, but then I thought, okay, this is something that I've not tried, so let me try this, and it turned out to be really good.
Okay.
So yeah, my interest towards Asian and Japanese food, and I'm trying to experiment them at home. So yeah.
Okay, wonderful. Tell us about your growing up years. How were you as a child? Probably in education, and your friend circles, etc., your family. How were you as a kid when you were growing up?
So very exciting. I come from a business family. Marwari business, typical family. Okay, so no one in the generations, the female has moved out for work, or did something to earn money, as we say, right? So my journey has been completely different from what I've seen in my family. So I was the first woman to step out and do something
nice.
for myself. So I started very early, when I was 12, as I mentioned, that I developed this interest towards cooking. And so Pali is a small city, right? So everybody knew that Bronika cooks amazing, because it's a small city, right? Everyone keeps talking
to each other.
Yes, and so I started taking cooking classes when I was 15 years, and I started money back then, when come from a business background, right? So there was there was Marwari Jain business family. So there was actually no need of earning money per se, and nobody,
But it was in the blood.
It was not in the blood. That's what I said, right? I mean, no female. Dhanda karna was in the blood.
Do any product, any service, and make money.
And make money. Yeah, that came very, very early, and So I started with taking cooking classes, not with the aim of earning money, but I think because I loved it and people wanted to learn it, so I thought might as well monetize it.
How much did you earn, just if you remember?
Of course I remember, and I very clearly remember that I started investing very, very early in my life.
Whatever you made from there?
Whatever I made, I used to invest in RDs and FDs. That's what I understood at that point of time, right? So the investing and making money came to me very, very early stage in my life, So I used to make around 1,500 to 2,000 per session, where 5 females would come over, and I used to cook and teach them and give a printed sheet. So I used to write my recipes, type it on the laptop, and get it printed, get the copies printed from outside and share it with them. So I think I did a good job. Like when I look back, I think at that point of time that was really nice. So I started earning and investing at 15. I'm coming to that. So I used to take tuitions as well.
Oh, wow.
So I had a younger brother, and I used to teach him at home, and so his friends' parents used to come
How many
home.
years younger?
So he was 4 years younger.
Okay.
So they used
you were in 12th, he was in 8th, and his friend circle was in 8th. And so.
Yes. So that's where, everybody wanted that, I think you should take tuitions because your way of teaching is way of communicating and engaging with children is really, really nice. So and again, I was too young for that, right? But I thought, let's try. I mean, if they are coming to us, so let's try. So I used to take tuitions. So started from 2 kids. Gradually, there were like 6 kids sitting in my hall, and I was simultaneously studying at that time because so I was the girl child, and back then in my family my father didn't want me to move out of Pali. So I could only find few things that was possible, and I chose to do CS at that time because in fact, and so my CA friends used to come over, and I used to teach them, and they became CA because they were fortunate, or I mean they got the opportunity to go out for
many
coaching.
Marwadis from Rajasthan come.
So this
come
was
to Mumbai also and study, take classes, etc.
I think there were very limited things that were actually shown to us that this is what you can do, right? Chartered accountant, company secretary, all of these courses were there. Tab utna hi tha. So limited choices, but again, I didn't want to stick to CA and dedicate my entire time to that, and so I was taking tuitions. I was the only choreographer in Pali. If I'll tell you that I've done so many things, you'll be like, okay.
Go on, we are here to listen.
So I was also at some point of time where I was taking cooking classes, taking tuitions, and the evenings I used to choreograph for weddings.
Wow.
So again, there was only one choreographer in Pali. So even if now you go and ask somebody in Pali, like if you know Bronika, I think everybody in Pali would know who Bronika was because I was in the limelight. Okay, so started earning very, very early. Tried my hands in a lot of things, and I think that was very exciting, and this is me as a person, creative, want to do things which I think I can do. I didn't want to do something, so again choosing CA as a career option was something that I came across, and I had to choose this 4 things versus CA, right? CA I completed. So this 4 things versus CA, and then I thought, okay, no, I can't stick to one thing and spend my next 2 years on that. So I choose this, and I'm glad. Everybody has their opinion and their personality, but I think this was me as a person. So I'm glad that this came to me early in my life, and then I knew that I have to do something. So it's just, I needed some platform. And then, 2016 got married.
You got married in Pali only, or?
No, in Bombay.
Okay. So when did you move to Bombay, and this was with your parents?
2016. So my parents have now moved to Dubai, but I had...
Oh, they moved to Dubai.
Yes, I was born and brought up in Pali.
And then when did you shift to, like, your
2016,
marriage
yes.
happened only with a Mumbai guy and in Mumbai?
Yes. So I shifted it to Bombay in 2016. Then, I was looking for options that what should I do. Initially, when I got married, again, coming from a Marwadi family, right? So my dad asked me that you should settle down with the family first. So I was trying to make place for myself, and fortunate enough that I've got great in-laws. So my mother-in-law was a designer. So now yes. So I joined her boutique, and I had my own clients. Used to design, used to explore places in Bombay, move to every corner to get raw materials and design. Tailors and all of them, and curated dresses. Again, that was a part of me, So I managed to seize the opportunity, whatever I got. Then, there was a turning point where I thought, because for company secretary, you need to finish training. So I was looking for options like, and then appeared for many interviews, but HDFC was one of, like, that was the thing in my head. I don't know why, that I have to get into HDFC, and I want to do this from there. And again, so I appeared for the interview, got selected, was there for 15 to 18 months, 15 months, 12 to 15 months approx. And that was an amazing turnaround in my life. I thought it's just for completing the training, and then, I'll move out and do something on my own. But I think I kind of started liking the corporate culture, and, I thought it'll be nice to explore this thing as well.
At least for a few years down the line.
Yes. Then again, so this was legal and compliance, and we all know, right? I mean, it's dynamic, but it's monotonous.
Boring. It can become boring after a few.
Yeah, it's monotonous. So then, so one fine day, I got a call from this company called Sat Industries, and I appeared for interview, and of course, I got the offer and all of it. Then again, I was in a dilemma that, moving from a large organization to a mid-sized small organization. It was small at that time, became mid now. Then I thought, okay, there are always other options available. Let me just try this. So I was there, and then that's where I came across startups. I probably have not heard about startups.
2019.
This was 2020, late 2020.
Yeah.
So
and I think we had interacted for the first time also in 2021 or after COVID, I guess.
Yeah.
For the first time.
For the first time,
yes.
correct.
When Pratik, my friend who had introduced me to you.
Yes.
Yeah.
So 2020, late 2020, I joined this company, and then was looking after legal and compliance work for the organization. And so I used to read the trail mails that how these things happen, because I was just looking at the legal and compliance work, right? So, and how these things was, read the interactions between the founders and how they pitch and what are the kind of, and the most exciting thing was that it was sector agnostic and early stage. So when it is sector agnostic, you get to learn different dynamics of different sectors, right? So for me, I felt that this is nice. Okay, so again, now this was the time when I was mature enough to know what I have to do, what I don't have to do in my life, right? All these years are meant for experimenting and trying your hands on different
you did
things.
Different things.
Yeah. So growing up, I did different things, and I knew that I could do that. Now I want to do something challenging, which I never thought of doing. Okay, so one fine day my manager asked me that we are looking for someone as an analyst, because we want to expand this division of our business. And okay, he told me, and I did not give a thought. I said, okay, it'll be nice if we expand this division of business, I'll also have a wider scope of work. And then without even giving a second thought, the next day I was in his cabin and I told him that I know that I don't come from this background or whatever experience or whatever JD you are looking for, but I want to try this. At least I want to try this because I think I can do this.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, but I think I can do this. And so he said very calmly that, okay, let me think about it and I'll get back to you. I said, okay. In my head, I was okay. I mean, if he gives me the opportunity, because this is not like 100% I have to do it. I thought I can do it and I want to do it. So the next day he calls me and he tells me that, you pick up any startup of your choice and evaluate it as if the money is going out of your pocket. Okay? And tell me whether we should invest or not. So again, at that time, very limited resources, limited information on startups, because this gained traction in 2020 to 23. I mean, again, 2021 was on peak, but I think it gained more traction after coming off Shark Tank and all that. People started knowing what startup was. So I said, okay, and every possible information about that startup. So I picked one startup, which is which we got at that time from a platform, and I managed to get every possible information. Like I did forensic of their of the founders, where they come from, what background, what startups they have done previously, and all the interviews they've given. So I've seen all the videos, everything in the news, because that was the only resource I had. I couldn't interact with the founder because this was an assignment, right? So I had to only dig into the information that was available, and I created a PPT, like a 15-page PPT. And so he gave me a deadline of 7 days. In 3 days I was like, my PPT is ready, let me know if you want to, because I was excited, right? So, and then he and his father, Mr. Daud Ali, and I was there. So that was the first presentation of my life, and that was a turning point of my life. Okay, so I gave this presentation very calmly. They were listening, they were writing down their questions, and at the end of the pitch, they asked me a few questions, and since I did a lot of research and all of that, so I was able to answer those questions. And I think the next day, they came up, they're like, okay, we want to give you this chance, looking at the dedication that you've showed, so let's do this with you. That was the turning point. And everybody around me was kind of telling me, made me doubt my decision, that are you sure you want to do this, because this is something that you've not thought of doing. I said, okay, I mean, I think this is what I am meant for, and there's no looking back. Since past 4 years, scaled up investments from 66 to 156 right now. Back then we were invested in around 4 to 5 VC funds, which is now 11 to 12 VC funds. I've been a part of 2 IPOs and pre-IPOs of the listed entity, been part of acquisitions, already acquired a company, and evaluated multiple deals, on the verge of closing another deal.
Wow.
So looking after the investor relations of the listed entities, growing from a team of 1 to 5, I have.
Your team. This is your
Yes, this is our investment team. So when I joined in, I was the only person. Now we've grown our team to 5.
Yeah.
So very exciting journey. I built space for myself.
It's like an entrepreneur.
I think, I mean, because you had to learn everything from scratch, right?
So it's like your baby, you're building it up, like what you would have done for maybe your own startup, your boutique design firm with your mother-in-law, or your dancing academy, if you would have done that, your cooking academy. So that would be again from the scratch. So that's what you did out here, build something from the scratch as an entrepreneur.
100%, because there was no thesis. He was doing out of his passion, investing in startups. I made the entire thesis, built the team, created SOPs, everything, got everything structured, started coming for the events, making relationships with people, scouting for more deals, making relationships. So in startup investments, it's more about relationships that you maintain, because you need to have more deals, get the due diligence done, get the insider information, or there's a lot involved, right? And not coming from that background, but I'm glad that, and I would give credit to Asad, because he's given me that platform, he's given me that opportunity, and he's believed in what I did. And now I'm leading the investment, so it's
That's
been
wonderful.
very,
That's wonderful.
exciting.
I think it
too.
shows on your face while talking that you're so excited just to even talk about what you're doing and what you have been doing, right? Just going a little bit back again to Pali, right? I want to know, and even I guess our viewers would want to know, what, coming from a traditional Marwari family based in a small town, how important was education in your family, that you have to make the girl study, or your younger brother study, pursue higher studies, move to bigger towns or something like that? How important was it? How was the culture in your family? And also in your town, maybe.
Yeah, honestly,
Because society's impact is a lot in such smaller towns, right? It is small society, small number of people, and they, everything is very interlinked, I believe.
I know, but so that speaks a lot about who I am today, right? So it comes from my father, who's always thought of, giving the best. I mean, every father would want to do that, but in Pali, when I was young, there was only one English medium CBSE school, St. Paul's, okay, and so he very, on a very initial stage only, he decided that my kids are going to go to that school, and the limited, because it was a small city, and the seats were limited. So he made sure that we go into that school, and going forward, so while I was taking tuitions or dance classes or cooking classes, there were very limited resources available, right? But he made sure that if you want to do this, we will have everything. So when I was taking cooking classes, he gifted me an oven, because at that time that was a big thing, right? So he always backed me. And I talking about education, of course, with the resources available, he gave me the best of it, and he knew that she's capable of doing so. She just needs a support, and I think I'm grateful that, coming from that place and making space for myself in a city like Mumbai with nobody around, because nobody comes from a corporate background. Just nobody taught me how to give interviews and how to crack interviews and how to do presentations and all of that.
Did you speak with your husband before the job or something like that? Because he was from Mumbai, so I'm sure he would be, of course, very much aware about how things work here in a corporate or something.
No, so he again comes from a family business.
Okay.
So
but at least his friends would be there. He's in Mumbai, so he knows how the world works here, or maybe some tips.
Yes, I mean, yes, he told me, I mean, he gave me some idea about how it is and the kind of person I am versus what I will be getting. So he made up my mind that you have to be aligned with what you are thinking of doing, because what kind of person you are and what kind of things you can do. I don't think that this will be in alignment, because this is something at that point, of course. And then I think everybody played a very important role, and till date everybody plays a very important role in my life, whether it's my husband, my father, my mother-in-law. So I think
who are you most closest to today in your family, and what do you learn from that person on a regular basis, or that one thing that you would have learned which is still there, which always is there every morning you wake up?
So I think I adore my mother-in-law the most in my life. And looking around, people will be talking about their mother-in-laws, but I always feel that she's been the biggest supporter, and she's the most excited when I achieve something. So when I completed my LLB, that was after after marriage, so she was the most excited one. So and you can sense it, right? Like somebody is looking forward to your achievements. So I think, and she's always supported and she's always taught me the right way. So I've been the closest to my mother-in-law, and right now, otherwise my dad has been my biggest supporter. But if you talk about today's date, I think she's something that I look forward to when I enter the house. Yeah.
That's good. That's good to know. So, this transition from. So, first of all, let me compliment you that it does not seem that you've come from Pali. From your spoken English to your vocabulary to everything. I think you are very professional and you properly look like and speak like, and that's something which. So I didn't know that you are from Pali. So this is really coming, from my heart, that it is not. It does not look that you are coming from a small town. You're very much professional, the way you speak, the way you conduct yourself. So I think the whole Mumbai ki hawa has probably got into you, or you are from there only. You are very well conducted and well spoken. Talk us through your transition of this from Pali to Mumbai. That whole transition. What was it like? What kind of challenges you faced? Some rejections, some failures early on, or something like that, or how did you go about this transition?
Okay, so I would not say that it was very smooth. There were a lot of ups and downs, and it was a rocky ride for me. But coming from Pali,
And that too, sorry to interrupt, but that too, immediately you got married when you came here. Plus you had your studies on your head, right? You were giving your LLB, so you were giving some kind of an examination. So not very easy. Immediately you come here, you're married. No time spent before that in Mumbai to know people around, to make a group, and then you have studies also. So yeah.
So when I came, when I was married, so we have this thing in our family's tradition that early in 24, 25 you should be married and all of that. And I was married when I was 24 something. So I was married, and then I completed my CS also after that. That's why I said that I give a lot of credit to my mother-in-law, who always supported me. She said there's only two papers left. I think you should complete it. So I completed that, and she's been very supportive. The transition, when I talk about the transition and the challenges, I think when you come to a different city, when you come to a different state, when you come to a different family, coming from a very different background, switching from earning on your own to working for somebody, when you see people around you, when I say I come from a family of businessmen, you always saw people. So my dad used to say that, why you want to do CA, we hire CA. So no offense. I mean, I'm just saying this, that he used to.
Yeah, it's a business mindset.
It's a business mindset, right? Any businessman, if you ask my boss, he's going to say the same thing, right? So he used to tell me this. So coming from that mindset that we hire people, we don't work for people, which is a completely different thing. I mean, nothing related, but of course, while growing up, that was something that we heard around. Not that I took it with me, but that was something that we heard, right? So, coming from a different background, family, state, and then with a different mindset, moving to a complete different thing, I think that was challenging, but that was exciting as well. I never took it as a challenge. So for me to complete the education, then again taking admissions for LLB, to managing the work-life balance with the family, and there's a lot going on the other side, that there's a new thing that I've started. I have to dedicate a lot of energy and time for that as well. everything went hand in hand, but I think that was a part of it, and that's what I am as a person. That if you give me like a simple thing to do, I think that would not excite me, and I don't think that I'll be very I'll do justice to that work. So for me, challenges is something that excites me, and hence
and you simplify that challenge probably
yeah,
in a manner that you will take it in a enjoyable manner, so it gets simplified on its own during that journey, I believe.
yeah, so for me, taking up a challenge, which again, when I said that when I wanted to switch my career from this to that, I think everybody around me told that you should reconsider your decision, because what
And
if
your husband?
no, I think my husband was neutral at that point of time, but so when you take such decisions, you tend to, at least in your early stage of career, you tend to ask people, right, that whether I should do this, whether I want to give an advice that I think if you're passionate about something and you believe that you can do it and you have taken your decision, there's no point asking somebody, because it's you who have to accomplish that.
I think even if you ask, I believe it's okay. It's to get different perspectives.
Yeah.
But you should probably hear people out. Take their perspectives, but listen to your inner voice, and then make a decision.
Yeah.
That's what. Yeah, I think in these kind of decision making, right? Because this job, business, marriage, education, these are like once in a lifetime very key decisions. So if you don't listen to your inner voice, I think that becomes a little shaky. Then you have to probably go through a lot of downs rather than ups, before it start making sense for you.
And it's good to take opinion of the people around who have experienced it all.
Who have experienced it.
But everybody's journey is different, right? So I think ultimately, if you believe in yourself, I think you should go for it.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
So this was the transition, and this was challenging, but this was exciting, and I think I appreciate every part of it, every challenge of my life, because that made me as a person, which I thought, I never thought I would be. So
Okay, got it. So I personally feel investing is a very fun job, right? It's a fun ride. It's nothing too complex, I would believe. Right, and meeting people, networking with people, understanding their businesses, इससे ज़्यादा मज़ा I don't think आ सकता है किसी को. So, but of course, there are hectic days when there is a deal to be closed. For example, in your case, even in our case, right, when there's a deal to be closed, you're going through multiple documents, negotiation हो रहा है, discussions हो रहा है, right? So there can be hectic days where you are really, tired mentally. Tell me, what do you? And I'm sure there would be quite a few days in your week or in your month when you're probably in your career that you would be mentally very tired or exhausted. So what do you do to unwind? Probably what do you and your husband do together to unwind when you're not in the best shape of mind or exhausted? What do you guys do?
So for me, when I'm like completely exhausted, there are very few days, I would say, because I enjoy my work. There are very few days. So I tend to withdraw myself from the loud surrounding. Whether it is, so I don't like to do things like going out or going for a dinner or meeting people or doing things when I'm exhausted. I will probably take a withdrawal. I will sit in the balcony with a book and chill there for 15-20 minutes, come in good shape of my mind, and then I think I'll bounce back even better. So this is me as a person. If I am not there around, that means I'm just recharging myself somewhere. So, and when I'm around, I think everybody sees it that there's a spark here.
There's a spark here, yes.
Yeah. So this is
got it. Let's talk about your investments, right? How does it work? I'm sure our viewers want to know how does a corporate invest off its balance sheet. Explain us a little bit about your process, about your structure. What do you guys do? How do you scout the deal? Then what is the process you all follow, to invest? Typically, VCs have one kind of a structure, and angel network has one kind of a structure, right? As a corporate, when you're investing your balance sheet's money, how does that work? And plus, this is a listed company, so
all the more responsible.
all the more responsibilities, all the more compliance driven, I would say. Too much of a hassle. How does it work? Run us through that thing. I think that's very interesting for me also. I would also love to know, and of course for the viewers.
So when I say that I'm looking after a portfolio of 156 startups, I call them as my babies, because each and every startup is important and each and every startup's journey is important for me, right? So for me, to be able to make an investment in something is one thing, and to see the journey from investment to scaling up to growing to minicons and sunicons is a different thing, right? So it is as exciting as a mother seeing their babies growing, right? How they learn to walk, how they're walking and all of that. So for me it's a different thing. And coming to investments, so there are a few, because we invest in early stage, right? There are a few parameters that we see. There are not much things at very, very early stage that is available, right? So I believe the founder's vision and how resilient he is the most important thing, right? Because there will be a lot of ups and downs. Of course, we all know that startups has a lot of ups and downs, but how you navigate those challenges is very, very important. So for me, the founder's mindset, his resilience and his potential of believing in his vision and executing the same is very, very important. So this is first thing. Second, I think whatever product or services that you're created has to be it has to solve some problem, right? There everybody trying to solve some of the other problems. I think that problem has to be there and people should look for the solutions. You're trying to solve a problem which people are not aware of, they don't consider that it's a problem. Yeah, so that then you're not consciously aware that I need this product, I need this service. You're creating thinking कि ये problem solve हो जाएगी, but मुझे चाहिए ही नहीं वो problem, मुझे लग ही नहीं रहा है कि वो problem है, first of all. So there should be awareness of consumer that that there's a lack in the system, that there's a lack of product or services, and then you're trying to identify that and solving that. So for me, I don't think every product and service or every problem that you're trying to solve is actually a problem for somebody. So you first of all try to identify what is your target audience. That is very, very important, and then you try to create solution for the problems that you think is there. So that's very important. Again, so team is important, the product fit is very important, and again the third thing is scalability. You're trying to solve the problem, you're getting the traction today, but how do you scale it up is very important, because that shows your journey. Just for for now, because I want to show you that I'm doing something and this is my traction, I have this many customers, and this, how are you going to take it to next step? Because that should be always a part of an entrepreneur, that thinking about what next, right? So for me, I think scalability and founder's vision on taking it to the next level is very, very important. Because at a very, very early stage, there are a lot of startups which pivot, and there are a lot of other challenges, but team building is of course very, very important, because you have to build a dynamic team, and in startups you have to have your hands on everything. You can't afford to have you can't afford to have many people. So I think management skills is something that is required across all levels, but at startup it is very important. So I think it's more to do about the founder and his ability to scale it up, to manage the teams, and to believe in his own vision. If you're passionate about something, and if I'm talking to you, I can gauge that passion, right? And I think that's where we come in, because we do not invest in your product, or we do not invest in the services that you're providing. We invest in the founder. उससे ज़्यादा हमारे पास early stage में कुछ है नहीं, correct? So this is what our thesis is, that we will invest in people and their vision and their capability of executing the vision. So I think that's important.
So let's say a startup approaches you, right? What is the first step you guys do? And this will be good understanding for the viewers also. How do you assess? So you said in this particular point right now that you will look at these 3 factors, right? But before you understand these 3 factors, how do you take that deal? And let's say if this deal, if you like these 3 factors are there, 3-4 factors make sense to you, how do you proceed ahead? What is the kind of check size you guys invest, and how much time does it take to give that check to that founder?
So again, it depends on deal to deal, but
on an average.
On an average, in a month we evaluate around 600 deals. So we have created SOPs and filters, and we have a team to look after it. So we filter deals basis the founders, basis the product, basis the valuation, basis the market size, and we filter out the opportunities. And then we have first round of conversations with the founders to understand everything. Then if it's a service, we try to, since we have this privilege of having 4 organizations, so we try to use their services in our businesses and see how it works for us, right? Because if we try it ourselves, then we know how this is helpful. So if first we have to believe in what the product is and how helpful it is. So a lot of startups who's creating SaaS products, we have onboarded them and we have started using their services. Coming to the products, D2C, we try to call for the samples. Initially when I was looking at the, evaluating at very, very early stage and first stage of startups, I used to take a food survey. So I have created a food survey form, and I used to distribute with the samples, getting their feedback on packaging, taste, what is their opinion.
Used to distribute?
People around. So maybe in your office, outside office. So we used to take a small survey. Because I think once the customer believe that, this is really amazing and we have not had this product, this is where you're serving the product. So I think it's good to have
genuine feedback.
Genuine feedback, yeah. Because if I am doing it, I may have different preferences. Different people will. So at least if I take a survey from people around, and I remember doing this with one of our investee company called Kerala Banana Chips.
Yeah, I know about that.
Yes. So when we did this, I took this feedback, and whatever he explained to me, and since I was speaking to him, I knew what he was trying to do and what product he has created. But somebody who's buying that chips ka packet from a store would not know his story and what he's trying to create. So that's where I decided that let's take a survey and see if this is a problem. Because banana chips were available everywhere, but let's see if this is a problem that what he's trying to solve. And that's where I came to this point that I think it's very, very important, because the feedbacks that I got were actually what the customers think. Without knowing the journey. So they really like, so whatever he's claimed, I was trying to bring those parameters like the packaging, the consistency of the product, or the flavors, and
the taste is really
amazing. So this is where I get feedbacks, and I think that made sense, and
so
the company is doing great.
Yeah, it is doing great. I think Aman Gupta is also invested in that.
Yeah, that's after we invested. So we
Actually,
invested
yeah,
very
first.
early. Yes, very early stage. So I think depends on company to company. So when I said that first level check is done as per the SOPs and filters that we have created, the second level is trying the products and services and speaking to the founders.
That's an interesting thing, I think.
Yeah.
To try the product and services yourself.
Yeah. So, and the third part is when we lead the rounds, we do the due diligence if we really like the startups. So, we do the due diligence and.
You'll lead the round also.
So, the very few startups in the businesses that we understand, that we think we will be able to provide strategic help, we try to lead the rounds, but our check size is generally starting from 11.5 lakh, goes up to 2.5 crores. That is the financial investments, and when I talk about strategic investments, it goes up above 50 to 100 crores.
Okay.
So that
would be larger companies, but
that will be no. So in startups, if it is strategic, so for example, so we are into business of packaging, we are into the business of furniture, we are into the business of stainless steel hoses and pipes. So anything around that which adds value to our existing businesses and which we think that we will be able to add value to those businesses, right? In that case, we lead the round. Otherwise, I think it's more of a financial startup investments. And of course, we help them raising more rounds because we are there in this ecosystem since past 10 to 15 years. Mr. Daud Ali comes from great experience in startup investments. So I think we have that space in the ecosystem. We help our investee companies to raise funds for hiring if they need any help or any hand holding, but that's limited. But when I say strategic investments, is something that we give inputs in the business.
Yeah. Properly.
So that's
properly involved.
Yeah. So those are the two different divisions at SAT. One is the strategic investments and one is the startup investments. Now that strategic investments can be in traditional businesses as well as startup investments.
Got it. So this you said about the investment part, right? Post investment journey, as you said, right? It's a different ball game when you help the company to scale up after putting in the check. Give us some example of what you have done with any company, specifically in terms of post-investment journey. How did you help that company? What input or what advice or what did you do with them that probably could help them grow or scale?
So once we invest in the companies, of course, we do regular MIS and business calls with them to understand how they are growing, what are the challenges that they are facing, and all of that. So once we invest, we try to get. So we have few expertise, right? So one is that we help them get investments.
Okay.
Because we are there in the ecosystem, we help them get investments because that's something which is required at every point of time in startups, right? And I think that's the most crucial thing, right? So I think we help them connecting with the right people
who raise the next round.
To raise the next round. So there is a lot of capital available in the market, and at the same time there's a lot of demand also. But I think getting the capital from the right person or right resource is very important so that they can add value to your business is what I believe that and at that time I think connecting them with the right set of people is very, very important. We help them hiring. Since we have 156 portfolio companies, there are a lot of companies which could be helpful, to each other. So there are synergies between the portfolio companies. So we try to connect the founders with each other and, so this is something that we try to do, and I think as we are growing, we will have different divisions to handhold the portfolio companies for helping them on whatever requirement they have.
Got it. Okay. This is one question which I wanted to ask about your portfolio company, right? So probably you all have invested in multiple companies, as you said, 156. I got successful exits also.
Yes.
Give me that one company's example, and if you can name that company, that would be brilliant for us and for the viewers, right? Which you all have invested in at a very early stage. You groomed those people. I mean, you helped them grow, you helped them scale up, etc. and then you got an exit also, right? So run us through that journey with that company. What exactly did you do? How that deal came to you, etc. Like, give us a complete background about what happened in that journey with.
So we have had successful exits. To name few of them, of course, Confirm Ticket, which got acquired by Ixigo. Then Beardo, which got acquired by Marico. So Beardo was something that we invested at very early stage, where I don't think people believed in men grooming things at that point of time. Again, so we believed in the founder, and we thought, this could do something.
This is when you're talking about, when did you
invest? This investment was done back in 2015, 16, around 16, 17, I think.
But you were not a part?
No, I was not a part of it.
So which you were a part of, which you have seen?
So all the startups take, anywhere between 3 to 5 years. So they'll mature, but we've had got this exit in company called...
Even if you've not got an exit?
No, we've been offered the exit, but we decided not to exit.
Okay.
So you want me to name the company?
I want to know which company you have been a part of that deal, from the start. That company approached you and you really helped them groom, you invested, make them, took them at a level, at a scale which they are now at. Even if you've not got an exit, that's fine. But which has been probably, which you believe in your career at SAT, which has been one of the top 3 successful startups for you?
So there are 3 companies that I believe are the star performers of our portfolios right now. So one is Rare Planet. Rare Planet. Those they have the airport stores. So they have grown from 2 airports to multiple airports.
The one which featured on Shark Tank.
Yes.
Namita Thapar had invested.
Yes. So there are so the founder has been amazing, and he's grown from 2 airports to maybe, I think, 20 or more than 20 airports right now. We've been offered exit, but we decided to double down the investment because we thought there's a lot more potential in the startups. So it's not about exiting for us at a particular point of time. I think it's more about believing in the founder and his execution powers.
When did he come to you?
So we invested this in 2017-18. That was the first check.
Okay.
Then we again invested in 2022. Then I think that there's one more round which came to
Shark Tank.
Yes. So then we thought of, so we were offered exit, secondary buyout, but we decided that we thought there is a lot more potential, and we decided to invest rather than to taking an exit. So this was exciting for us.
Okay, got it. All right, I think that makes sense. I have found you. I mean, we've got connected. We've known each other for we've spoken and known each other. I've never seen you very active on social media, especially LinkedIn, because that's where from our community people are more active on, right? Yeah. So what is why are you not very active on LinkedIn? Where of course this entire community of startups and VCs and our ecosystem that we are a part of is present. I'm sure you must be viewing and you're there on LinkedIn, but you're not actively posting, or you don't, you're not much into posting out there.
So for me, personal brand building was a different thing. For me, building a brand for SAT was my main focus. So if you see SAT's LinkedIn page, you'll see a lot of posts, and those posts are coming from my side.
From your side. Okay.
So I am focusing more on creating a brand for SAT, for startup investments, and my journey started from creating a page for SAT.
Oh, okay, you've done that.
Yes, so we've created.
So you've done marketing also along with the legal.
So I have my hands on everything, and till today, we are posting a lot of things that could help founders, our achievements, our portfolio companies' achievements on LinkedIn. So that's where I'm more active. But on a personal side, I think if the company is doing great, my work will be recognized. So I think I've been more focused towards creating a brand for SAT rather than a brand for myself.
Got it. How do you guys generally get startups? Is it on LinkedIn, or like how do you guys typically get your deal flows?
So there are multiple things. The first advantage that we have is that our founders have been in this ecosystem since past 10 to 15 years.
Okay.
And they've always been on the investor side. So they have their complete set of people. So we get a lot of opportunities from there. Then we are associated with a lot of platforms like Venture Catalyst, 100x. So a lot of deal flow comes from there. We invest in funds as well, so we get co-investment opportunities. Then we do a lot of networking events. I've been here in this ecosystem since past 4 years, known a lot of people, meet a lot of founders. So there's a deal flow from my networking as well, and of course there are like a lot of deals coming from LinkedIn as well, because that's the first source of connection, right? So a lot of, even though if I'm not actively posting, but I'm actively there on LinkedIn. So if I like something, I approach that startup. Very active on startup news channels to track the performance of our startups, to see what other startups have been doing, to see which particular sector is booming. And
startup news channels mean?
News channels like articles, and Tracker, Your Story, Inc. 42. So we are also investors in Inc. 42. So you get a lot of news related to startups, and then funding and stuff. So you get to see that which sector is booming, which startup has potential, which startup is raising funds. So I think that's very important, and it's not about people approaching us. Sometimes we also approach when we think that it is.
Yeah, we also do that.
Yeah. So and the next part, which I think is very important, is so we have connections. So creating connections is different thing, but being in touch with those people on a regular basis is also very important. So I touch base with people, understand what they're doing, understand if there's any opportunity, if they are not interested and could be suitable for us. So I think that plays a very important role, when you try to connect with people after you've connected, because you go for a lot of networking events, you meet 100 people, you come back and then it's done, it's gone, right? You remember only 2 or 10 out of 100 people, but it's more important on how you build your connections, how you keep the connections. So for me, it's not only building connections, it's how you take it, developing and maintaining. So and then we have another page on SAT's website. So to all the founders who are listening to us, can reach out to us by filling a simple form with the pitch decks, and our team will get back to you.
That's a good marketing you did. All right. So this is now we're coming to the last leg of this episode. One question which I usually ask all my guests, right? And it's about money. Part of it, I think, is answered in your initial bit, but I would like to still know and still ask this. What was the first money lesson that you learned, right? A clear-cut money lesson that you learned, from whom it was, and when did you learn this?
Okay, so I think I learned this at very early stage of my life, and this is what I'm doing right now. I didn't realize that I was consciously doing this because I want to do this later in my life. So when I said that, when I earned the first thing in my life, I started investing it with the resources that was available to make more money out of the money that you have, right? People at my age, probably at that time, used to put that money in the piggy bank, right? I went to the post office and I told them that what interest rates are you giving, and I want to make a
you had done everything.
RD and FD. Yes, everything was done by me. So, and that was exciting, that okay, if I save my money, I don't have to put it in the piggy bank and wait for it, right? There's nothing good to happen. Whenever I need it, I have to remove it. But how to make more money out of this money with the resources that was available at that time. And till date, I think that stayed with me, that how to make more money out of the money that you have. But again, looking at all the risk factors and all of that. But I think once you learn the art of investing,
This was taught to you by whom?
so this was taught to me by my father.
Okay.
Yeah. So he told me that this is the best thing that you should do, because when you grow up, your money will become this much. I said, okay, let me do this because I don't need it right now, so let me do this. And I think since then I've been investing. Now since I know a lot of other options to invest in, asset class, so I diversify my investments into everything, and I'm always keen on learning new ways of investing. So for me, the biggest money lesson in a positive way is that investing at the right place and right time to make more money.
Have you lost money while investing?
Of course. So
In what?
So when I was doing this investments and startups, one fine day I approached my founder and I said, even I want to invest in this because I believe that this startup is going to do great. So this was very early, okay? So he very, very calmly he said that, it's too early. I don't want you to lose the money. You should be a part of the journey. You understand how it works. And when you think it's the right time, I think I will recommend you to invest at that time. I think that was a very, very sensible thing for me to learn at that point of time, and that stays with me. So my founder, Mr. Daud Ali, I think right now he's the biggest and the best mentor that I could have. Every smallest thing that I do related to investment comes from a lesson that he's learned over the period of years in his life, and he's passing on to us so that we do not make those mistakes. So that plays a very important role, and glad that I've been working under the mentorship of him. And talking about losing money, early when I was trying my hands on stock market, that time also I was playing it very safe. I thought 20% would be my long term, 30% would be my short term, and then 50% I'll play around with derivatives and futures. So that's where I lost some amount of money, but over the years I learned it, and I think this is how you learn in stock market. Until you lose money, I think you've not learned it. So
Agreed. Tell me one thing. So where do you see yourself now 10 years down the line? This is a little bit interview wala question, but just would love to know, where do you see yourself professionally, personally 10 years down the line?
Honestly, if you ask me 10 years, I'm not a kind of person who would anticipate and execute things, right? You must have heard it in past conversation that I want to
Things happen to you more than you making them happen or you wanting them.
Correct. So for me, it's seeking the right opportunity at the right time and making the best out of it. So I've not planned my next 2 days also, I would say. I want to take it how it comes to me and give the best out of me. That's what I train myself to do. But again, on a broader level, of course, I want to learn more. I want to excel something that I'm doing currently. So now I know that what I want to do. I'm very clear and focused about what I want to do in my life, and I don't want to have my hands on 100 things. I want to excel in what I am doing, so that I can give inputs on the things that require my attention. So I think
any scope of restaurant later or something?
that may be later. I mean,
not in this 10 years.
Not in this 10 years for sure.
At least that's clear.
That's clear, yeah.
That's great. So let's move to the last part, which is the rapid fire round. Okay. So be quick and be rapid, right? Let's go. So first question, one tip to grow in your career that you would want to give to any youngster?
I think you should seize the opportunity that comes to you and follow your passion.
Great, superb. Choose between the two. build your existing company's investment portfolio, which you've already been doing, or start your own fund?
Okay, that's a bit tricky one, but of course, as I mentioned that this 156 companies are my babies and I want to grow with them, so I would want to rather build what I have taken my hands on. So
Okay, Asad would be happy bro. All right, third one, do you like to invest in gold more or stocks more?
as I mentioned that I am a diversified person, I would want to diversify my investments into every possible asset class.
Multiple other asset classes
Yes.
also.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you aware, this is not in rapid fire, but just in investment, are you aware what's your portfolio returns right now, at standing right now?
Yeah,
Which would include gold, shares, startups, whatever you have, but just in percentage terms, what would be your returns as on date?
Yes. So, okay, this is anywhere between 30 to 33%
Per annum.
IRR.
IRR.
Yes.
Great, wonderful. That's a proper Marwadi demand. All right, fourth question. One red flag in a startup that turns you off.
Okay.
कि इसमें नहीं कर सकता मतलब no, just no.
I think the behavior of the founder that being I don't know. I think
being cocky, being
yeah.
attitude, having some attitude.
Yes, I think that that behavior of the founder, which sometimes.
पर वो sense हो जाता है on a call, on a first call, because I'm sure first is तो happening over a call or a Google Meet.
If you're asking me first call, I generally do not create a verdict on the first call itself because.
But कभी sense आ जाता है ना, this is not मतलब at least it happens to me and I spoke with some other people. कभी आ जाता है, you can just sense it. There is no vibe check. It's not happening. Like,
so I think investment is more about gut feeling, right? So you get it. You're correct that you get the gut feeling, but I give it some time. I think I believe that's not justified. That maybe I have it in my head, but I try next call me, if this is sorted, then at least give him a chance. So but it's more to do with the person, because on the first check I don't think you can deep dive into something else. So it's more to do about the founder. So that's a red flag for me.
Okay. Last one, if you had a chance to ask a founder on a date, who would it be?
Okay, that could be anybody, right?
Anyone, any founder.
So not from the startups. So I would always.
If more specific, let's do little more specific from one of your portfolio companies or any celebrated startup founder, whomever of your choice. Except from your two managing directors and partners, or the someone not doubt sir.
Okay. No, so
as a dream date, के मतलब मजा आएगा.
My dream date would be
with a startup founder.
With a startup founder, okay, I'll come back to that. But my dream date would always be either Mr. Ratan Tata or Mr. Deepak Parekh, because I've always been following Mr. Deepak Parekh very actively, and that's where I always wanted to work with HDFC.
Okay.
So and it got me into HDFC because, as I mentioned, I manifested that and I got into it. So Mr. Deepak Parekh would always be my dream date. And coming to the startups, okay, I've not thought about it, but
you had to be rapid.
Okay. Could be a founder outside our portfolio companies. Sure, that's a difficult question. I can't ask a married person to go on a date with somebody on a rapid fire, right?
You're not supposed to do anything after the date. It's just a date.
I would go for a date with Dipender, maybe.
Dipender.
Yes, to discuss food.
Good. See, that's a good answer.
Yeah.
Just waiting for that. You took some time, but it's okay.
So I think the best conversation on a date is about food. That breaks the ice.
That breaks the ice.
And who would be a better person to speak about food? So
yeah, I think wonderful. He's hosting podcast. You can probably production. All right, great. So my last question: what would what would be that one piece of advice that you would give to your 20-year-old self?
Okay. To my 20-year-old self, when I look back, I think I should have been more calm and composed and adopt things at that point of time, which I'm doing right now. But there was a lot of hustle in my mind at that time.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I had 80% less patience than I have right now. So I should have been more patient. I should have been more calm, and I think that's the only advice that I would want to give it to myself when I was 20, and I think I still want to take it. So.
Okay, great. Thanks a lot, Bronika, for this podcast. I think it was lovely to know your journey from a small town girl to someone who's doing very awesome things in the startup ecosystem. Having huge strides in this ecosystem, investing in so many startups, helping them grow and scale up and build something, right? So I think lovely. I had a lot of fun listening to your stories, learned quite a lot of things. So thank you for your time. Thank you for doing this with us. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me here. And it was a great experience. Even I got a chance to think about what I've done in my life and reminding those good old days. So it was such a good experience. Thank you so much.
I hope with this episode, our viewers, the community, they get to level up their knowledge with whatever they've learned from you and from this conversation. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much.
What's up, guys? Before I sign off, I would love to know whether you really liked this video or not. If you did, click on the like button, click on the subscribe button, click on the notification bell so that whenever our video goes live, you are notified first. This would be a really small task for you, but trust me, this would help us a lot in spreading this knowledge world over and helping people level up their knowledge. Signing off, Devansh Lakhani.